Sniper Side Bullet Point here. Question comes up every day in the forums about which cartridge should I choose, the 6.5 Creedmoor or the 260 Remington. Now, it's an important question and we want to break it down in the simplest way possible, and I recommend you read the article that accompanies this video because I go into a lot more detail as well as give you some background ballistic information for the two. But at the end of the day, I can break that question down into one of shooter experience. If you're a more experienced shooter, you're probably going to want to choose the 260 Remington over the 6.5 Creedmoor. And that's especially if you're an accomplished reloader. Why? The brass. 260 Remington has Lapua brass, which is going to give you a little bit more reloads out of it. And it's going to give you about 50 feet per second more velocity over the 6.5 Creedmoor. If you're a competition shooter and you're an experienced one doing that, you're going to want that extra 50 feet per second. Now for the novice shooter, the right answer is the 6.5 Creedmoor. You could still reload it, you'll get excellent performance out of it, but it also has a great variety of factory ammunition. And the ammunition is about half the price of that of box 260 Remington. Between $25 and $29 a box for the 6.5 Creedmoor versus $32 to $52 a box for the 260. Now, in the article, I'm going to compare both to the Prime, and that's because they're both loaded with the same bullet. These are Prime factory loaded rounds, both have the 130. You'll see that the 260 Remington has about 50 feet per second, which is going to give a little tiny edge in BC to the 130 in that with that boost. But you're going to find that it's a lot cheaper to go to the 6.5 Creedmoor. Once you press that trigger, it's really a wash except beyond 800 yards. Inside 800 yards, you're going to get roughly the same performance. Now, the competition guys are going to go with a longer barrel and squeeze every bit of speed out of both of them. But your average and more casual shooter is going to like the availability of the 6.5 Creed. You can go into a Cabela's, a Sportsman Warehouse, and you're probably going to find a box of match ammo as well. You can copy that recipe and start to develop your reloading chops using it. Then if you want to move up to something better, or maybe Lapua comes out with 6.5 Creed brass by then, you can then hang neck and neck with the 260. But really, you're not going to see a big downrange difference. The inherent accuracy is not better in one over the other. They're both pretty much the same. Both 6.5s, you can use the same bullet in either one. So there's no question there. When it comes to speccing out a rifle, your barrel twist rate is going to be the same. About a 1 in 8 for either one is going to get you through. If it's an everyday rifle, 24 inches. Competition rifle, guys will go 26. I have an 18-inch 6.5 Creedmoor. Works fantastic out to distance, so no question there. But read the article and take a look, and just know if you're new getting into long range, consider the 6.5 Creedmoor. If you're experienced and you're moving up from a 308 to a 6.5, the 260's for you. Really simple. Doesn't have to be a big convoluted answer. That's it. I'm using Trace-Al from Desert Tech. And right now I put a target out at 1325. I'm going to set it up and take the shots using our Prime 130 grain ammo. Conditions are pretty decent. The wind's about 3 miles an hour coming from my left. So I'm plugging all of that into my Trace-Al. Here's 1325, and with the wind being variable like it is, it's a steady 3 miles an hour, and that's what we are counting for. Well, with the changes in the wind, it was going from the 3 to 5.6 like it is right now. Then it was coming down to next to nothing. So my hold went from a 1.1, which according to Tracell, and that gave us a first round hit, to something like a 1.2 down to 3/4. So we had a pretty big swing of wind.